In my opinion, as an intelligent, mature human being, you go through teenage years, you're a moron. And at some point, generally towards your late 20s, or sorry, late teens, you have a little bit of space. You don't hang out with your parents as much. You have a little bit of room. Sometimes you smoke pot. Maybe you smoke pot earlier. I don't know. But generally, it's a couple of just before you become an adult. There's a little space, right? You finished high school, maybe you're going to college. You're kind of trying to figure things out before the next phase of noise. And so I remember this is a particular state, and all my friends were kind of like in that state. It's in between, right? And in a minute, they're going to be sucked in by the adult world, but they're not yet. It's like a little transition. Maybe it's the summer. Maybe we stretch it to 2, right? Because we went to school and university and whatnot. And then you have some time and you get to think. Had you had proper education, you would have thought since you were a kid, but I'm talking about for your regular person. You had a little bit of space and you get to think. You get to re-examine your past and your life and what you've done. And if you're intelligent, you're like, well, what am I really doing? Like, I'm with this girl. What am I chasing? What am I looking for? So I went to the gym and I trained. What was I looking for? Right? You have a little bit of time because when you're like in the heat of the moment and you're like passions are circulating in you and you're like your mind is possessed. You don't know what you're doing and why. This is not a judgment saying I shouldn't have done this. No, it's just, well, what am I looking for? What's the outcome I'm looking for? And there may be many answers, but at the end, what am I looking for? So if you take the time to actually study yourself and study your behavior without judging, just trying to understand what am I looking for, you get to certain answers, right? So you're horny, so I want a girl, but you don't want any girl. You want a beautiful girl. You want a girl that turns you on. Let's say maybe an intelligent person or a person that you enjoy their company. So when you get it, what does it give you? I'm happy. I'm like, yeah, but what's further than that? So it gives me a form of release because I had a desire and the desire was like eating me up. And now when I get what I want, there's an appeasement. So I'm looking for an appeasement. That's really what I'm looking for. You'll understand this, you jackers over there out at home, right? You know what I mean, a jacker. So you got an itch. You go jack that, and then the itch is gone for at least I don't know how many minutes. So what are you really looking for? A form of appeasement. You feel insecure, right? Let's say, so I need friends. You go hang out with friends, it brings you a form of appeasement. You don't have money because then you can't buy food or get a nice home, so you get a job. What does it do? Besides the fact that it gives you an apartment, and maybe the apartment impresses a stupid girl or a silly friend of yours. That gives you appeasement. So technically everything you're doing is to try to get you a form of appeasement so that you can rest. So if you really understand, and you study people, look around. People work to get to the place where they not work. When they're on holidays, what does holiday represent? Reaping the benefits of my labor, which brings me peace. I have no stress, I have no problems, I have no issues. There's nothing to resolve, and I can just be happy. Happy why? Meaning I have no problem. Isn't that what it is? And I'm surrounded by quote-unquote people that I love, and hopefully we ain't got no problem amongst ourselves. That's why you want to go with friends that you can enjoy their company, because if you bring a friend that you don't like, then it's going to be attention. You got a problem, you got to resolve it, right? So what everybody's looking for is appeasement. And to be in a place where you have no problem. I think this is safe to say. You're intelligent enough to understand what I'm trying to say. So then you observe reality. You observe your parents. You observe your grandparents. You observe adults. You observe everyone. You're like, well, it doesn't seem to exist because all there is in this life is problem. So you better be good at problem solving. Right? If you're looking for a form of appeasement, you better be good at problem solving. Right? Any professional in any field is getting paid because he's able to solve a problem. I go see a master lawyer. This fucker, I pay him $400, $500, $700 because he solves my problem, and that's worth a couple of $100 or thousands of dollars, whatever. So he solves the problem. You go see a master builder, an engineer, he's going to solve that problem. You go see a doctor, a medical, right? He solves the problem. So life, at the end of the day, a skill set is about solving problems. So you better start. So when you understand that peace comes from problem solving, because this world is only problems, and people don't want to talk about this because people don't say, no, it's amazing. I'm like, this is not a question of amazing or not amazing. It's a question that the nature of this world is problem after problem after problem after problem. And that's not even bringing in your personality, which will create more problems, your moods, more problems, your mind and its incessant wavering, more problems, like that just enhance the basic problems that are already there, written in the code. So, but who ever told you this? Life is about solving problems. When you went to school, did they teach you this in high school? They taught you bogus English, fucking nonsense grammar, bullshit mathematics, which has, who cares? It doesn't mean anything. It's the bell curve. What the hell does this, how does that solve a problem for me? How does that make my life any better? Zero. Let's be honest, right? Bullshit history, bullshit geography, lies, solves no problem, doesn't even solve your ignorance situation. So, it's funny, we live on Earth, and Earth live in this plane, we only have problems, and nobody, or very rarely, or I'm pretty sure most of you have never heard this, maybe you're lucky and you heard it once or twice, all you have in this life is problems, so you better become good at solving problems if you hope to have some kind of peace. And I'm not talking about solving problems in your profession, which gets you paid. I'm talking about you got to solve all the problems in your life so that you can be paid peace, which is given by nature itself when you don't have any problem. I'm not talking about it's great, you better solve problems if you want to get money. Yeah, but money doesn't solve your problems, does it? It solves a problem, some problems, but it doesn't solve your problems. Certainly will not solve your problem of death, will it? So, this is basic knowledge, this is basic insights into the nature of reality. Life on this earth is just problem after problem after problem. So you better become good at solving problems. Then the next question is, well, how do I become good at solving a problem? Well, I need to have knowledge. Well, there's so much to know. So you better get studying if you want, you better start to learn if you want to be good at solving problems and having macro visions. And you better start to know people who are good at what they do so they can help you to solve problems, because you don't have time to know everything. But that's not enough. That's just in the worldly affairs. And the world is just an illusion, meaning it's the surface of reality. There's like life, which is full with other problems. This is my brother I have a problem with. My brother I have a problem with. My father I have a problem. And then let's not even speak about all the unconscious shit that most people don't want to deal with because it's too much problem. So when you start to understand that life is full of problems and the solution, what you're really looking for is peace, and peace comes from solving the problems, you better find an agency that specializes in solving all problems. That's what a smart person would do. I have a PR issue, I go call the PR agency, and these fuckers solve my problem. I got a law problem, I go see the lawyer, he solves my problem. I got a health issue, I go see this doctor or this specialist, he solves my problem. Yeah, but what about life now? Who's going to solve your life problem? Which is 99% of your actual reality. But if it wasn't for the fact that you squeeze yourself in your little silly fucking phone, your little TikTok shit, then you make everything else disappear, then you'd be confronted with the real life, which is 99% of your problems, and your little affairs and your mundane affairs is this big. It's not to minimize it, but it's nothing more than this at the end of the day. It's important, this, right? But it's still this. What about that? So that's how a smart person thinks. I'm teaching you how to think in case you didn't know how to think, which is probably the case. But this is how you think, right? Life is full of problems, and what I'm looking for is peace, and peace comes by solving problems, but life is so grand and it's so filled with problems and dimensions of problems, dimensions and dimensions and dimensions that your average professional is not able to solve. So I need to connect myself to an agency of knowledge that is able to solve my life problem. Now we're talking. Now, this is more advanced than your average person can understand. Is it really, or people are dumb? Which one is it? Is this so advanced, or people don't think? Or they think to a certain degree, but they don't want to push it a little further because it makes them scared? I don't care. It's not my problem. But we're having a conversation together. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you won't miss one of my videos. Don't forget to leave a comment or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Like, share, distribute, spread the love. Now that we've said that, let's keep going. So that's how a smart person thinks. Life is a fucking big ass fucking thing. And all I'm experiencing is anxiety. Not me, everybody. This is the truth. And you idiots online who act like they're superheroes, pretend that they don't have anxieties, they drink all the time though. That's how they solve the problem. Never forget this. Motherfuckers drink. This is normal. Nobody asks a question. Remember once upon a time you were a kid, unless you were one of these stupid kids that hated themselves right from the young age and wanted to get drunk right away. You already tasted it. You say, Mom, can I taste this? And yeah, it's like, this is disgusting. Every kid's already tried this and said, this is disgusting. What happened from the kid that went from it's disgusting to the grown-up who drinks it without thinking? It's an acquired taste. It's not an acquired taste. The grown-up is sick, and that's medicine for the grown-up. And the grown-up is suffering from anxiety. Grown-up is suffering from tension, hypertension. Grown-up is suffering from so many anxieties, and when they take that medicine, that whiskey, that malt, what does it do? Appeases their body, appeases their bloodstream, appeases their nervous system, at least temporarily, and the problems seem to fade away. So anyways, all this to say, don't buy this bullshit. These amazing successful people have no problem. They have only problems, and they are also plagued by existential issues, just like everybody else. And unless a person stops for 2 seconds and starts to question, it's like, well, how do I solve such a... Look at life, it's such an enigma. What the hell's going on? Sure, let's say I play basketball, I figured out basketball. Good, I'm happy for you, really, genuinely. But life is basketball, is this big. What about life? So maybe you're good at society game or the money game. That's fantastic, good for you. Honest to God, like great, you can play the money game. Yeah, money game is this much compared to life. In a minute, you're gonna die. What the fuck is death? Who am I? Where'd I come from? What happens when I die? And what is the implication of my life? Meaning if I come from somewhere or nowhere I never existed and I'm gonna die, that means somehow there's a whole dimension that this little fucking strata of life that we're living in this little bullshit society doesn't consider, which is still there. So if you tune yourself to it because you're sensitive enough or intelligent enough, that is, you're like, man, I got a fucking issue on my hand. Life is complex. How the hell am I gonna solve this? So so-called spiritual people generally understand a little bit of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to have to find an agency of knowledge, a knowledge power, so that I can receive guidance, so I can solve all my problems, so I can find peace. Cool.